Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're stepping into a story that reshaped all of history. The story of the 12 apostles of Jesus, their lives, their mission, and their ultimate destinies. These 12 men were not perfect saints. They feared, they doubted, they stumbled, just like us. And yet, it's exactly because of that, their stories shine with even greater power. They carried a message of love, forgiveness, and redemption across the world, facing persecution without fear, igniting a fire of faith that would never die. So now, let's journey back 2,000 years to see how 12 ordinary men wrote the eternal story of the gospel with their very lives. 1. James the Lesser, the forgotten believer. He was James, son of Alphaeus, called James the Lesser. In Scripture, his name is but a whisper, a faint brushstroke in the grand canvas of the gospel. Yet without him, the painting would be incomplete. He performed no great miracles, led no crowds, but lived out a quiet and steadfast faith. Tradition says he was pushed from the pinnacle of the temple in Jerusalem, then stoned to death for preaching the gospel. History nearly forgot him, but his silence became strength. He taught us that faith doesn't always shout. Sometimes true power hides in quiet devotion. 2. Jude Thaddeus, the flame of loyalty. Jude, often mistaken for the other Judas, was no traitor. He was the author of the Epistle of Jude, a short but thunderous letter, warning believers against false teachers and urging them to stand firm in truth. He journeyed through Persia and Syria, and according to tradition, died a martyr's death, beaten or crucified for his faith. His fire burned with fierce loyalty until his final breath. Even in death, his spirit whispered, "Hold the faith, no matter the cost." 3. John, the apostle of love and the prophet of revelation. John was more than a disciple. He was Jesus' closest friend. He stood at the foot of the cross and was entrusted to care for Mary, the mother of Jesus. He wrote the Gospel of John, 3 epistles, and the book of Revelation. His writings radiate the heartbeat of divine love. God is love. He survived being plunged into boiling oil, was later exiled to the lonely island of Patmos, where he received visions of the end of days. John lived past 90, the only apostle to die naturally. Yet his long years of exile were themselves a testimony that love endures even when the world turns dark. 4. Bartholomew, the missionary who was flayed. Alive, also known as Nathaniel, he brought the gospel as far as India, Armenia, and Ethiopia. His end was horrific, flayed alive and crucified. Yet his brutal death became a symbol of unshakable conviction. He proved that faith is not just a word, but a truth one can carry to the very edge of pain and beyond. Bartholomew's name became a whisper of courage across the centuries. 5. Philip, the seeker of truth. Philip, from Bethsaida, was a thinker and a questioner. When he asked Jesus, "Show us the Father," Jesus replied, "Whoever has seen me has seen the Father." That moment changed him forever. He later preached in Asia Minor and was executed in Hierapolis, crucified upside down for converting the governor's wife. Archaeologists in 2011 discovered an ancient tomb believed to be his resting place. He left behind no wealth, only the footprints of truth. 6. James the Greater, the first martyr. The brother of John, son of Zebedee, bold, fiery, called a son of thunder. He was part of Jesus' innermost circle. When persecution began, James was the first apostle to fall, beheaded in Jerusalem. His remains, legend says, were carried to Spain, where the great shrine of Santiago de Compostela was built, and millions still walk the way of St. James. He was the first to die, but his blood opened the road for generations of pilgrims. 7. Andrew, the bringer of souls. Brother of Peter, Andrew was the first to follow Jesus. The moment he met him, he ran to tell his brother, "We've found the Messiah." He later preached along the Black Sea, reaching as far as modern Russia and Greece. In Patras, Greece, he was sentenced to death, crucified on an X-shaped cross. He requested it himself, saying, "I am not worthy to die in the same way as my Lord." That cross became known as the St. Andrew's Cross, a lasting symbol of humble courage. 8. Peter, from fisherman to rock. Simon Peter, the impulsive fisherman. Jesus told him, "You're Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." He walked on water and sank in fear. He swore loyalty, then denied Jesus 3 times. But after the resurrection, Jesus called him again, and Peter never looked back. On Pentecost, he preached with fire, bringing thousands to faith. Finally, in Rome, under Emperor Nero, he was crucified upside down, by his own request, for he felt unworthy to die like his master. Peter's life is proof. Grace can turn failure into foundation. 9. Thomas, the doubter, who believed Thomas doubted the resurrection until he touched the wounds of Christ. Overwhelmed, he cried, "My Lord and my God." He carried the gospel to India, where he founded one of the world's oldest Christian communities. He died by a spear, but his legacy endures. Many Indian Christians still call themselves the children of Thomas. His story teaches us, faith isn't the absence of doubt, it's the victory over it. 10. Matthew, from tax collector to evangelist. Once a despised tax collector, Matthew left everything when Jesus said, "Follow me." He later wrote the Gospel of Matthew, bridging the Old and New Testaments, showing Jesus as the promised Messiah. He preached in Ethiopia, where he was killed for his faith. His life became a living sermon, that no one is too sinful to be redeemed. 11. Simon the Zealot, from rebel to peacemaker. Before meeting Jesus, Simon belonged to the Zealots, a radical movement that fought Roman rule with violence. But faith transformed his fire into peace. He traveled with Jude Thaddeus to Persia and was killed for refusing to worship false gods, reportedly sawn in half. Simon's life proves that faith can turn rage into love and revolution into redemption. 12. Judas Iscariot, the betrayal and the shadow. He walked with Jesus, saw miracles with his own eyes, yet for 30 silver coins betrayed his teacher. His guilt consumed him. He took his own life, a tragic end to a soul lost in regret. Judas reminds us that outward loyalty means nothing without a repentant heart. His story stands as both warning and mirror to every generation. Matthias, the chosen replacement. After Judas' death, the apostles cast lots to choose his replacement, Matthias. He carried on the mission faithfully, preaching in Judea and Ethiopia, and died a martyr. His story shows, God's work never stops. When one falls, another rises. Finally, the echo of faith. Nearly all 12 apostles died for what they believed. They faced torture, exile, and execution, but not one turned back. Their faith became the light that pierced empires, the spark that spread across centuries. When we look at their lives, we don't just see tragedy. We see power, purpose, and love that conquers death. May their stories light a fire in your heart to carry your own faith into a world that still needs hope. If you found this story moving, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Next time, we'll open another page of history and uncover the faith that built the world.